What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Vampy Book Club. Our third episode. We had took a week off because of one of our co-hosts had to go to Metallica. So n- lo and behold, and we're talking about issue 3, Vamp. Issue 3. Well, what everybody knows about this issue is it's low printed and it's hard to come by, and it's a white cover, so it's going to be hard to keep nice and pristine and white. But not only that, but it's done by two artists. It's not just done by one artist, it's actually done by two. It's Von Bode and it's Larry Todd, and they're both underground cartoonists that they were known for back then. So they were both underground cartoonists, and this is Von Bode's first cover for Warren, of first of 7. So he ended up doing 7, and he collaborated with a bunch of people. So, but Larry Todd is one of his good friends. So this is him and Larry Todd's first cover. So the biggest thing with this was Larry Todd and him and Von Bode. Von Bode did a first draft of this cover, or something similar to it, and it was a male character. It wasn't a female character originally. So that the original cover wasn't. And then since we're mentioning their names, here is the first artist, Von Bode. So and then the second artist is Larry Todd, and Larry Todd just passed last year sometime. So and then come to find out, like, I've been doing research on these books, and stuff, like, to tell you guys more than just about the stories and stuff in the book. But the actual cover of this actually went up on Heritage last year, actually, and sold in September for a crap ton. Yeah, I showed Dell, and Dell said, "Holy crap!"
That's a lot of money. 132K. It's a lot of
132K. But what I think happened was this thing was originally in Larry Todd's possession originally.
Mm.
So, like I said, Larry Todd passed away last year. So I forget what time did he passed away from. What I think happened was his family had to sell some of his stuff to get, funeral, money for funeral, money for stuff. So went to Heritage, probably asked them, "Hey, he has a bunch of these paintings," and because they probably saw it and recognized what this was and put it up, and guess what? It sold for a lot.
A lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. But what these two guys are known for, not just the Vampy 3 cover, Von Bode is known for Cheek Wizard.
Cheech Wizard.
Cheech Wizard. But if you recognize the style of his art, a lot of people that loved the tag and stuff back then used his style or copied his style. So a lot of taggers, a lot of like we were talking backstage, head shops, a lot of the psychedelic 70s deal loved his art. So a lot of people copied his style. So if you recognize any of it, it's probably because a lot of taggers and stuff use his style. You know what I mean? You probably drive by it all the time, like people tagging, and it looks similar to it. So
yeah, it's just it reminds me of that stuff. Even some of it with when I used to live in LA, there are certain areas of town I will see that type of style that graffiti artists and taggers used to use.
Yeah, but come to find out, Von Bode was the first one to actually do it. He was actual person that actually drew this style. It's just a lot of people emulated his style back then because he's an underground cartoonist. Yeah. And what are taggers? Underground artists.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so they end up finding, a like-minded person that's similar to them. And then what Larry Todd's known for is, a lot of people don't know, is Dr. Atomic. Another they're both cartoonists pretty much. But and then Von Bode started getting into science fiction after he did Vampy 3's cover. But these guys were both underground cartoonists, like, and he's known for like Van Bode is known for another story, another strip. I forget the strip name, but he did it for like a Playboy type, like Esquire, one of those type of magazines. He had a ongoing comic book strip that he did. I couldn't actually find any pictures. I would have had pictures. I couldn't find any pictures, and plus, I would, even if I'm not monetized, I probably would have got demonetized as soon as I got monetized for this. If I did find any pictures, probably. But and then lo and behold, I forgot that actually Dell reminded me about this. This is actually Vampy's cousin's second appearance because her first was in number 2. So her her second appearance is actually in 3, and it's no mention in any guides or anything like that. It's mentioned this issue is a low printed issue. That's all it's mentioned. Nothing else is mentioned about this issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the only information that if what the more popular thing that people like to refer to lately is Key Collector. Yeah, as far as for reference, as far as information, the only thing that says that it's scarce.
It's scarce. I mean, I understand it is scarce because a lot of people probably got rid of it because how white that cover was and how, you know what I mean, and the cover probably would even if it was not low printed. Look at the cover; it's a white cover.
Now, you can remind me on this too. Like when issue 2. What wasn't cousin Evely? I think, was it just like a minor appearance, or it's like barely one image of her, or she had like equal time as
I think it was like one image. I think it was like actually I think they had a story. I think what I remember last time we talked, I think it was like a story, but she didn't make appearance until like the middle or the middle of the story or the actually no, it was Vampy didn't make appearance until the middle of the story towards the end. Everly made appearance in the beginning of it,
right?
But if you didn't know what we were looking at, you wouldn't have known it was her.
Yeah, because because issue 2 was more about the sister Draculina, right?
It was more like Draculina, her, and Everly. It was and then her mom. There was and then the other thing was her mom made appearance in it, but that's actual not a factor in it because we both read it. Her mom doesn't make appearance at all. It's actually so there's wrong information out there too. So because some of it says it's her mom, but it's actually Draculina that makes appearance, and it's actually Everly, her cousin, that makes appearance.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. But a lot of the books after 2 has cover stories pretty much. Like whoever did the cover, they actually did stories inside the book about the cover or whatever it is. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see, like the Slug Rider. You know what I mean? The story was interesting, but what did you think, Del, of the story?
I think it was.
I read it before, so I mean, I I always thought it was kind of funny, but
I thought it was kind of funny. Well, just some of the stuff that was written in there, like the narration boxes on there were kind of campy a little bit, like especially the opening one was a little campy. It was interesting. It was like the story itself. I kind of looked at it as so like the very top like narration box. Yeah, the very top narration box next to the face there, on top of the title. It was a little campy, and that was still campy and funny, but it's kind of what to be expected from a book from the 70s,
right? From the 70s.
Yeah. So, and then the story was still kind of character developing of Evilly.
If you notice, it's actually by one of the guys that created Vampy, Tom Sutton. Art by Tom Sutton. Yeah, so he actually drew the first issue of Vampy. He actually drew the first version of Vampy. So it's kind of funny that he's back and he's drawing
the cousin. Yeah, so it was, which is cool. I dug the story because it was like kind of letting people know who evil he is, and then pretty much she's like a sorceress.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So she's not a she's not an actual vampire. That's what surprised me more than anything was, huh? How are they related? If she's just
yeah. So, and then they're like saying that she's like related to the wizard Merlin. Like somehow,
yeah.
It's like she's related to the part of that lineage.
And, but that gives me like a idea of, because I don't think she's in the modern day versions of Vampy's things. So I could probably actually do a story and bring her back.
Bring her back. Yeah, because you'll know more about the all the modern day stuff.
And I don't think she's actually in any of the modern days storylines. I don't think. I can't remember exactly. I've read so much of it. I don't remember if she even is.
Nothing by well.
Priest right now is just in between her sister. Well, he's still writing it, so he might have something worked up to bring her back too. Because dude, she has a whole gallery of people that he can play off of.
Well, about nothing from under the Harris, or
not that I can think of, because I've read a lot of it, and not that I can think of off of the top of my head. But we would have to go back through it. But we got 113 issues of number, of the magazines before we even reach Harris's versions of this stuff. So but we got some we got some surprises in the works for you guys. So don't worry.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of cool stuff in the works that Jeff's been working hard on, and well, we got pretty much one thing pretty much confirmed, right?
It's just one thing confirmed. We just gotta cement it now.
Cement the scheduling, work out the scheduling.
You guys get the nice surprise of one of these streams eventually.
Definitely. Hopefully sooner than later.
Dude, I really actually I enjoyed Sutton's art in this one more than I enjoyed issue 1's art of Tom Sutton's art.
Yeah,
because I liked what he drew, how he drew Everly in this one.
Yeah.
But honestly, what I think happened was with one was he had a bunch of people in his ear talking about, hey, we want her to look like this. You know what I mean? I bet you James Warren was in his ear. I bet you freaking Forrest J. Ackerman was in his ear. You know what I mean? I bet you a bunch of people were in his ear. Hey, we need Vampy to look like this.
Exactly.
But this was probably like them taking the handcuffs off and, hey, go at it. Don't worry about anything else. Because I honestly like it I like his art way better here than I liked it in 1. What did you think?
I did like the art better because it was at least like the artwork's a little bit more better, but I felt like a little bit more better detailed.
Yeah, and plus I think he probably had more time.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, it's not rushed in.
You're right too. Yeah, but it was a cool story. Yeah. Like how you were saying Merlin.
Yeah, see, I'm about to say, like so in the top there, look at the little bubble says great grandfather Merlin.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
And it's just like pretty much as it's saying here, that's like she's like the power is like within a tree, and then this guy that she's interacting with is like doesn't believe Evilly is who she is, and so Evilly had to, as it go in the story, had to proving it.
Right. Who she is. Thinks she's just a crazy lady that thinks she's related to Merlin.
Exactly.
It's kind of, but you enjoyed the story, right? You thought it was kind of interesting and funny at the same time.
Yeah, it was interesting and funny. It was like kind of like, seeing it kind of like a person.
But what's kind of funny is that Everly looks like a blonde here. In the other one, she looked more like dark haired. You remember?
Yeah.
And it too, she looked more dark haired. I'm kind of I forgot this was Everly because until you reminded me, I'm like, oh yeah, that is her because I've always thought this character was a whole completely different character when I read it the first time.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's
because until you reminded me, I completely forgot. I'm like, yeah, but she looks blonde in this one.
yeah, because I said yeah when I started reading it, it was like reading her name in there several times. It's like okay, it's Vampirella's cousin, but it's a
Right.
story
But
revolving
she
around
looks
her.
more like, if you think about it, she looks more like Draculina then. She
Yeah,
doesn't look like Vampy. She looks more like Draculina then.
that's right.
Because she's blonde. Because I forgot she was blonde. Because if you look at it, if you look that way he drew her, she's blonde.
Yeah,
You know, or she could be redheaded. We don't know because it's black and white. So we could put the idea in our heads, whatever color hair she gets. You know what I mean? It
yeah.
doesn't really matter. But what it looks like to me, it's light. It's light. It's lighter, so it might be
I
blonde.
would think it's blonde because if it
Right.
was, I would think if it was like something, a different color other than blonde
Right.
or black, it would be
Right.
like a gray. It'll be like a gray tone,
Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
if it was redhead,
Yeah.
it'd be a gray tone.
I just thought it was. I just thought it was funny. I completely forgot about this. That she she was even in this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I forgot the story. I mean, I didn't forget the story, but I knew the story, but I didn't put two and two together until you said it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so which is cool because like right here, it's like the story gets into the story where this guy's asking her to prove it. They make it to the tree where
Right.
she has to get connected to.
Merlin.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Her great grandpa.
Yeah,
Her great grandpappy.
yeah, exactly. And it's like I guess this tree has like some sort of magical powers that has
Right.
her, she gets connected. So it's just
I
pretty
just thought
interesting.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's interesting though.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's just all these stories on in this thing is interesting, man. All of them are interesting. Like yeah, like this part, and then Vimpy makes a little appearance at the little end of it, like she always does, because
Yeah,
she was the host originally.
yeah,
So she wasn't, you know what I mean? She wasn't story, she wasn't in any of the stories until, like I told you guys, and I told Dell, not until 8. She didn't come back until issue 8, until they made her the mainstay. Dude, why would you do that? Is out of my mind in the first place. Where you done cover 1, Vampy, cover 2. I assume that was Everly in on the front cover. I'm assuming, and then
yeah,
cover 2, cover 3, no Vampy. Cover 4, no Vampy. Cover
yeah.
5, no Vampy. It's like you named the book after her, and you did one cover, and then said, "Fuck it, she's not gonna sell, so we're gonna just do all the freaking horror stuff first on the covers."
Yeah, which is pretty, yeah, it's pretty, yeah,
Pretty freaking funny, and not until freaking not they didn't figure it out until issue 8. Go, oh shit, we may want to put her on the cover.
yeah, and then they're like, I look at this page right here,
Right,
where it's like so she finally proves it now. She's pretty much turned this guy to stone because it's like
right,
all right for doubting who she is. So it's pretty funny.
yeah.
So the story's
But
pretty.
like you said, like the reading is almost like you can it it didn't it didn't age well. It's from where it's what age it's, where
Yeah,
what it's dated. You
it's,
know where it's from.
yeah, it's dated from something from the 70s. Just look at
Right,
the language and kind of campy
right,
from the 70s,
right.
early 70s. So
Yeah, but it's always fun to go read the old stuff to see
yeah,
where people's mindsets were back then.
yeah,
And
exactly.
then you could have got Conan. Yeah,
Exactly. Of course, the classic mail order stuff
yeah,
for
classic
everything.
mail order stuff. And then you could have got your first couple of mail away for these: issue 1, issue 2, and issue 4. You notice issue 3 ain't no picture on here of issue 3. That's how low printed it was. Oh no,
Well,
but issue 3 is there.
okay, because yeah, you're reading it in issue 3, but yes,
Yeah, No, I just thought it was funny. Yeah, but price wise, it was 75 cents. It looks like, and number one was $1 back then.
Yeah.
$1.75. Yeah, and then it looks like 25 cents for issue 3. Wish we were paying those prices for them now.
I wish I was paying those prices now for any comic book.
Yeah,
Jeez,
yeah,
everything's at $4 plus,
yeah,
$4 or $5. And then if you want to get foil copy, it's like some
yeah,
of the cool foil copies, like
yeah.
cool covers, and they're like 6, 8, 7. Depending on the shop you go to, $10.
Did you end up reading this story, the Slug Rider one,
No, I
of
didn't.
the cover?
No, I
We
didn't
just
read
read
this.
we read the Everly one, but this
Yeah.
is so this one is actual for the cover for whatever the cover story was. So this is the actual Von Bode's little Slug Rider. So if you and it's talking about same thing, really like you said, campy. You could tell where what time it's from, but like it's talking about science fiction. You know what I mean? It's uh spaceman goes to a weird planet or whatever it is. So it's like same thing. Slug Rider, like the chick on that in the cover,
Yeah.
and she's actually here. So see, so
Yeah.
Slug Rider.
Yeah. Very 70s.
Yeah,
Look how they're dressed.
70s esque. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then see, I wouldn't mind to have this cover as like a shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be a cool t-shirt.
Yeah.
But would you want it in the front or would you want it in the back? And then it says it's a Vampy, and then and then that in the back. But you wouldn't know it was a Vampy anyways.
I could do it. You could do that in the front, like it was
Yeah,
taking up most of the front. You could really get away with it doing it that way.
yeah,
Could
yeah.
take
It'd be kind of cool. I mean, it'd
yeah.
just be kind of cool to have that. You know what I mean? No, I mean nobody's thought of it like that because I've actually looked through some of these insides, and I'm like, dude, I wouldn't mind having one of these inside pages, interior pages as a t-shirt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like
because when it comes to like with t-shirts, I wouldn't mind wearing the design in the front, and
right,
then when it comes to like hoodies,
yeah,
it's typically I like to wear the designs in the back, and then like maybe a small logo on the
right, yeah.
top.
But I just thought it was fun. I just thought it was funny. But and then it talks about planet. They're on the planet, gets attacked by a creature. You know how it goes. It's old B movie 70s type stuff. Yeah, I thought it was just kind of funny. And it's talking about about Slug Rat, and then Vampy again makes appearance.
Yeah.
They it makes me laugh how different all the artists draw her though. You notice pretty really, really pretty or making funny face like this one does.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
like eerie, when mail away for eerie, and then this stuff, all this mail away stuff. Yeah, and then another story, and then you see Vampy's in another corner here. But yeah, it's a bunch of short. You know what I mean? These things were in the beginning were a bunch of horror shorts, like I told you, like freaking Crypt Keeper. Like Tales from the Crypt. She was the horror host. She was Elvira when Elvira wasn't. Well, hasn't been yet. But what was it? Her original idea was, what the heck is it? Barbarella. Her original concept was from Barbarella. Like they saw Barbarella and they wanted some type of character similar to a Barbarella character, mixed in between with a vampire. So that's how she came to be. Was I guess Warren saw something about Barbarella, went, watched the Barbarella movie and went, we could create something like that. And that's how she came to be. But here's another story, all kinds of funny stuff funny things goes on. And there's go Vampy again towards the end, talking about devils and whatever else. And then another one, like just looking through it, just the art is some of this art is amazing. You know, in black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see these on rock. Yeah, I can see these on rock T-shirts and stuff like that. You know, it's just a lot of this stuff is just like looking through it. Half of the time, it's like half of the time I don't. Half of the time I'll read it, and then half of the time I'll look through them just to check out the art.
Yeah, it's just like whenever they do the futuristic stuff, it's like
yeah,
like the futuristic space stuff is always
interesting.
Interesting and what you expect out of the 70s stuff, and then you got this one this is what you have on screen now, the Caligula.
Yeah.
Which just reminds me of the movie. The movie's so terrible. It's so bad.
And that's probably what this was a retelling of this of the movie. That's probably what this was.
Well, if you know what that movie was about, I don't know if you ever seen it. It's for mature audiences only.
Yeah.
the actual movie.
But I just thought it was fun. I like just seeing all the different art styles in this thing was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's actually Everly's second appearance, and a lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. So, and then a lot of people think it's just low printed.
Yeah,
but it's a two-edged sword on this thing. It's a actual third appearance of Vampy's cousin, second appearance. My bad. First one, she doesn't make appearance. They were trying to make her a thing, but lo and behold, it wasn't successful. So Draculina wasn't even a success because she didn't come back until the Dynamite's runs. So she wasn't really like, she's made appearances, but she hasn't like actual storylines and stuff. Wasn't really successful until now. You know how funny that is, that you guys created a character back in 69 70s and didn't catch. Vampy caught on, but her sister didn't catch on because she was blonde. Or whatever it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just so another, here's another story. Don't
well, which the funny thing, I just noticed this on what you have on this other story where it has like Vampirella with there, but it looks like it's like almost like a tattoo on her chest with of a bat.
Yep, and I told you that's what originally the Spanish artist tried to do it, where to get away with it, to see if they could get. I told you this story before, in the past before, where they would do it to see because their boss, to try to see if their boss would notice it, and the boss didn't give a shit and never noticed it and just kept on publishing their art. If you look, and then because the main reason I even knew about it, Enrich Torres said it in his biography book. Said it, they purposely did bats on her boob on purpose to see if his boss would actually notice. And his boss probably noticed it and probably didn't give it's just a little bat, nobody's gonna really notice. Guess what? Now people noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like that's what I just realized it. So
yeah, but yeah, it's kind of funny though. It's like, yeah, and then this is another story about beauty and stuff like that, and you know what I mean? Talking about, eye beholder type stuff, and yep. And look, here's another story where Vampire riding a alligator. But you notice that you notice how her art changes. Like every different artist does their different interpretation, and the face is. It always makes me laugh. The face is always the funniest part of it. Like you can see the different faces, every single one.
Yeah, it's always a little bit different. Like
it's always a little bit different, but not too different where you can't tell it's her. But the face, like the face looks a little evil-ish, or looks like a little conniving or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But every single story is just it's pretty much just a horror story, and then it gets towards the towards the end, and then you see Vampy again. So like I said, she's a horror host.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what this issue 3 was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See right here, this right here, this is the piece on Conan.
Right.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. But it's actually this actually isn't in the interior. It actually isn't in the book. That was just because it came from. It's a digital copy wherever it came from. So, yeah, but this is kind of funny that this piece of art didn't come up until this year. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's kind of funny. And then come to find out, the original artist, Larry Todd, was still around because he passed away. I think the early 70s, or he died pretty young. I think it was like early 70s or early 90s, something like that. And then he didn't pass until 2004 sometime. I just don't remember the date exactly, but it's kind of funny that as soon as he passed, this came up on auction. Because like I said, but you would have to put Larry Todd, comic book artist, and then you would have to put Von Bode, comic book artist.
Yeah, I'll he passed away. Von Bode, July 18th of 1975.
So yeah, so so pretty much, like probably after he done the cover, because cover was done in the 70s. So yeah, so so not long. And then Larry Todd that passed in 2004, but I just don't remember exactly what time. Yeah, but you would have to put Larry Todd, comic book artist, or it won't give it to you. It'll give you some type of senator or a book or a book guy.
Actually, it's saying that Larry Todd passed away in 2024.
Yeah, 2024. Yep.
So it looks like it was like around the time the sale of this. It was shortly after, based off of
what
what's online. It's like the this auction right here of what you have up on screen.
Yeah.
It was sold, and then like with a matter of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but like I said, what I think happened was this was in Todd's possession. This was in, you know what I mean, in his collection, and he passed. And they, the family probably talked to one of the guys at Heritage. Hey, come and look at our dads or or grandfathers or whatever's, artwork and collection. And they probably saw this thing in the collection. They said, this would probably go for a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you guys need help with, paying stuff, this would actually sell for a lot. And they weren't lying, because what this thing went for.
Yeah.
They were right. So I'm hoping whoever bought this thing is actual fan of their art and actually either has that issue. It'd be kind of cool to, to frame it and then frame the issue right next to it and have it in a CGC case and frame it right next to it.
Yeah. Well, so I look at it like this, like a lot of times, like artwork, but done by well-known artists.
Yeah.
I tend to go for a lot of money when they're dead. So,
right.
So this was sold. This painting was sold 10 days or so before he passed away.
So he didn't exactly. He was still alive when it sold.
Yeah, he was still alive.
He was probably getting ready. He goes, hey.
Yeah. I'll look it up again, but he's 76 years old. From what it showed, like at the time of the passing.
Right.
So he passed away at 76, and for it to be sell for $132,000 while the man was still alive.
Right. That's still an achievement.
Yeah, it's still quite a bit, but yeah, I can only imagine what it was.
What it would have sold. Yeah. If they put it up now, you know what I mean? I think it would have sold.
Doesn't really say anything about what if it was what the cause of death was, if it was
Right.
like if it was illness or something, but
yeah, but dude, he's 70 something,
yeah,
probably.
yeah,
And he was in the 70s, so we could probably say it had to do with something, drinking, smoking, anything. You know what I mean? But
or some sort of illness that he had, like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But these guys were known for these type of characters. You know what I mean?
yeah,
This character and this character. You know what I mean? You know how different this is compared to all that.
yeah,
You know
very
what I
much.
mean? Yeah, and this is one of Von Bode's first of Warrens. So he did 7. So you probably have a lot, all 7 of the covers. It's just I just got to figure out which 7 covers that he did. But he's
Oh
done
yeah,
7.
yeah. I had the full run of the magazines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
You saw
he's
it.
done 7 covers for Warren. So this is his first one that he's done, but he's done 7 that he's had partners
Mm.
like Larry Todd and stuff like that. Like every covers he's done that he's had partners. But and a lot like a lot of people think that Von Bode did we know for sure Von Bode did the character, like did the Slug Rider in general. But a lot of people think like Larry Todd did the backgrounds to a lot of their partnerships, the backgrounds. So and then the original picture of this that he did, that Von Bode did, it was a male character. Like I said in the beginning, it was a male character. So I don't know if it was Warren or somebody changed his mind, or he changed his mind and said, "Hey, maybe I should do a lady." Yeah. So, but yeah, dude, this is pretty much it, guys. We went over issue 3. Like I told you guys, if you guys watch this on a rewind, you guys want us to go over all the stories, we can. Just let us know you guys want us to in the in the description, or if you guys want to join in on the fun, hit me up, hit Dell up. We're both on Instagram, and I'll post all the Dell's information down there, where you can hit them up on Instagram if you want and stuff like that. But this is pretty much what we're gonna be doing for coming for Sundays for now on. That we're gonna be doing Vampy Book Club, and we're gonna be doing pretty much every issue until either me or Dell get bored and say screw this, and we're not gonna do. But we're gonna try to do all 113 issues.
And there'll be some other things that are going to be done in the to mix things up a little bit too. So
So we're not just gonna talk about vampy stuff. Actually, this thing is gonna be talking. So it's Vampy Book Club. So anything vampy. So it's gonna be anything vampy. So we could have cosplayers. We could have artists. We could have cover artists. You never know. We could, but you guys would have to tune in to find out and to see what surprises we got in the works. But I have a lot of cogs moving right now to actually get this thing up and running. So we're moving the cog around.
More to come. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned, and
stay tuned.
Everyone's gonna be pleasantly surprised with what's being worked on. Jeff's working hard on this, and we're kicking around ideas too. So with Jeff's connections and everything, we're working out some stuff. So.
Yeah. So, but if you guys are enjoying this, let us know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And then and then if you guys want, you know what I mean, let us know if you guys want us to go over more issues, or if you guys want to join in. Let us know in the chat. Let us know down below. Whenever you guys get whenever you guys watch this in the rewind, just let me know, down in the description, down in the chats, whatever. But all right, guys, we're out of here.
Peace.
See you later.
Deuces.